the mission of what we are seeking to do at Kellogg is to both educate, equip, and inspire brave leaders who are going to drive a strong organization.
What are some of the less obvious ways that you seek out diversity? Everyone hears diversity and they think about some of the obvious things like different regions of the world. What are some other ways in which you recruit a class of people who are different in other, more subtle ways?
You know, we're really intentional about holistically reviewing every candidate so that we seek to understand the perspective of that student and what they'll bring to our community. When we, evaluate applicants, seeking to understand the qualities that we think would help them to thrive as a member of the Kellogg community and be ready to seize all the opportunities that come with joining Kellogg. So certainly, as you said, like from diversity of background, there are some common things that you'll probably see among our students, but the diversity of experience that they bring, I mean, like, for example, they've got students probably, I think, from like 250 different undergraduate institutions comprising a class of just, 450, 70 students each year. The diversity of just their education, their work experience is something we place high value in. So the students that we love to embrace at Kellogg, we know can motivate a team to drive impact. They're not afraid to question the status quo and sort of seek non-obvious solutions to problems. They approach business problems with a mix of intellect and energy and creativity, and we embrace people and students who seek diversity in their own networks and teams. Because we are building and intentional about having diversity at Kellogg, we want people who are going to embrace that. And they're going to be eager to dive in and collaborate in this engaged, ambitious community of peers. And so, all of these are things that we place a lot of value in building the class. And to your point, we are going to welcome people from an entire spectrum of interests and backgrounds. It's something actually at Kellogg, sometimes people say, what differentiates Kellogg from other programs or other schools? And one of the things we point to is that we firmly believe that at Kellogg you can prepare yourself to be successful in any career that you want to pursue, and that we don't have this major emphasis in any one lane. We have, students who have pursued consulting and strategy as their interest area. Just this past year, we had the highest number of students ever go into the tech sector. So we have had, about 28% went into tech, which is sort of a huge growth area of interest and opportunity. And, and then you look at areas that might be like social impact or real estate or healthcare or, more traditional areas of consulting and finance and marketing as another example. So across the spectrum, we have, people with different backgrounds who pursue different interests. And we fundamentally believe that you're able to design your curricular, experience here to equip you to pursue whatever career you choose. So diversity is something we value in the community. It's something that we're focused on building, and we're looking for people who are going to embrace that. And ultimately, the benefit to them in their career pursuits is really powerful.
One of the other things you've been talking a lot about here is the fact that so many things at Kellogg happen in teams. Yeah, not that teams aren't a part of every MBA experience, but I think that the concept of working together in a team is maybe even more central to it at Kellogg than at some other schools. And if I think of what some of our students say to me, some of them have even said that you do things in teams so much you can get sick of it.
It's a foundational aspect of how we believe our students benefit in learning. So we've intentionally designed the Kellogg learning experience to be based on teamwork, as you referenced. And Kellogg pioneered this approach. We were the first MBA program to introduce team-based study into the curriculum, and that has been widely replicated because essentially what we can point to is team dynamics are a crucial part of your success in the business world, whether you're in the private or the public sector, regardless of your industry, function, or title. Leading a team is a bit more of an art than a science. It takes a lot of practice in many different settings with different types of people tackling different types of problems. And that's exactly what the Kellogg experience provides. The fact that you are working in teams, every team is different than the last and brings unique challenges and perspectives. So we're going to, Kellogg education is going to expose you to the extensive global opportunities we talked about, challenging experiential learning projects. You're able to customize your set of electives. And what you learn in having to, share ideas, sometimes negotiate with your team on an idea, or how to actually tap the diversity of ideas from, as I referenced, like one of my own group experiences, the diversity of backgrounds, is something that it's like a muscle that you have to flex to learn how to use with frequency. And then you're able to apply that when you're at work and, years later in your career, you're able to draw on the experiences that you gained and what you learned in that experience as a student here. And the ability to influence others in your organization is a critical part of leadership. And so I think this team-based learning model is one of the pieces that really enable us to develop leaders, which is ultimately, the mission of what we are seeking to do at Kellogg, is to both educate, equip, and inspire brave leaders who are going to drive strong organizations. And so that team-based model is a really, strong component of creating that experience for our students.
And just to go back on what you said, if I think back to my own corporate career before Menlo Coaching, then so many things that I might be doing in those roles, that was also about how to work nicely with a team. I was in roles where I was the general manager for a business unit, but the engineers didn't report directly to me. The salespeople's commission plan was written by the chief revenue officer. So there were a lot of people that I might have to get to cooperate with me if I wanted to achieve my goal, even though I had no kind of direct authority. And having these skills to work nicely with other people in that situation, on the one hand, employers love that. So being in an MBA program that precisely prepares you to work well in teams makes you very hireable. And then in an applicant's kind of selfish interest, being good at working with teams and making other friends in the company makes you more promotable.
Well, I think there's something really relevant in what you're talking about there is there's both the combination of, effectiveness, intelligence, your ability to tackle a problem, but there's what we call EQ, which is the emotional quotient, and the ability to understand how to connect and engage with others is critical in, I'd say, harnessing the best out of every member of the team. And that's what Kellogg leaders really, I think, possess in spades. Time and again, we'll talk to employers who come and recruit Kellogg students, and they talk about how Kellogg students uniquely really stand out in that ability to connect and engage, like from day one on the job. That they could put a Kellogg student at the table in any scenario and have a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to read the room, read the organization, read the team if it's just a meeting, and they're able to integrate really effectively and hit the ground running. And I think it's a lot of this experience of having different kind of engagement opportunities with teams that equip you to be ready, and it's just something we place a lot of value in as well, is the ability to connect with others. So all of it, I think, comes together in helping make Kellogg leaders very effective in their careers.